Hey, welcome back today, Monday, 3rd of February, 2025. Um, Another cold day here in New York. I'd just like to go a little history lesson. Again, this is the Roundabout Expert on Nothing. So I just want to go a little bit of history lesson, and I'm not going to say the exact years, but I know the decade, and I know what teams they played for, and I don't know the owners' names, and I should check, and that's a fair criticism if that's the case. The early 1970s or the mid 1970s, around 75, the NBA, the National Basketball Association, kind of like now, not even close to now actually, but was on the brink of shutdown. Not just the NBA, the game of basketball, because two leagues were fighting against each other. And I know the commissioner of the ABA was George Mikan, who did not like the NBA, and he was at that point, a lot of people consider him the best or of the best players to ever play. It was Bill Russell, Wilt, George Mikan, the most decorated players of all time at the time that people knew about. Now George Mikan, when people talk about greatest players ever, people don't really mention George Mikan anymore. I guess that's what happens as time goes on. But he was commissioner of the ABA because he didn't like the way the NBA treated players back then, and considered the fact that how they treat players now, the NBA did not treat players the greatest at all. No doubt about it. But the ABA was treating players better. There was a 3 point. That's those are the people who invented the 3 point shot. They had a color basketball. They opened up the game for more dunking. There was more offense. And the best player in that league was Dr. J. Julius Erving was his name, and they called him Dr. J. Dr. J played for the Long Island Nets and the Virginia Squires. I don't know. You see, got you most people in today's day never heard of the Virginia Squires. The older people be like, "Oh my gosh, this guy remembers the Virginia Squires." I don't remember. Obviously, I wasn't there. And the Long Island Nets, they were called the Long Island Nets, not the Brooklyn Nets, not the New Jersey Nets, the Long Island Nets, were winning titles. They one year, I saw a thing. They beat like the Denver Nuggets. They had Don Issel, who was the broadcaster there for years in Denver. Um, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if he was there, but you get the point. I don't know. I don't know if the player that people love in Denver all those years before, man, I'm talking about way before. I don't know if he was there those years. I think no, I don't think so. I think that was the '80s. Kiki Vandeweghe, that was the '80s. But anyways, getting back to the story, the if you guys know the story that the Long Island Nets, the NBA, the ABA, and the NBA had to emerge to save basketball in total. They emerged. So all those teams that were in the ABA, San Antonio, Denver, that's how they came to the NBA. And that's how the 3 point shot, which actually was made in 1980, but it was a few years after, was made because of the ABA. We should thank the ABA, and I think Steph Curry should look at, maybe he does, should always be like, in his profile, be like, oh my gosh, because of the ABA, I'm the one of the greatest players ever. And so should Ray Allen and Reggie Miller, etc. But we get the point. I digress from that. But the best player people said in the world back then could have been Dr. J. People say Kareem, Dr. J. So there was an argument who was the best, but Dr. J was the most popular basketball player in the world. And the Long Island Nets emerged into the NBA, and the owners of both teams said, to sacrifice basketball, we have to put him in Philadelphia, because Philadelphia is a big time team, big time market. And I think the Long Island Nets, if I'm not mistaken, moved to New Jersey. So New Jersey is not a big state, not a big state at all. Newark, I know it's next to New York, but no one cares about the New Jersey Nets. And for years, I remember the Nets, with me as a kid, just a side note, for me as a kid, when they made the finals twice, no one cared. No one gave a darn. No one cared. Okay? They played the San Antonio Spurs in the finals. No one watched those finals. People watched the finals against the Lakers because it was Kobe, Shaq, and obviously the Nets had no shot. They had zero chance of winning that series. But getting to that point, no one cares about the New Jersey Nets. ever. Like, really. It's not a joke. So everybody wants to put this and say, well, Dr. J went to Philly because because they sacrificed their own self. No, they didn't. They sacrificed for the league, and because it's Philly, it's a big market. And I just want to say this about the LA Lakers. So getting to my point now is the LA Lakers players had no really rights to demand trades and tell things what to do until Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did not want to be Milwaukee and he wanted to be for the LA Lakers and he wanted to play for the Lakers. Suddenly, players get opportunities, players get rights. Come on, bro. Like Wilt Chamberlain went to the Lakers. We have years later. Now I'm going all in today because this is getting ridiculous now. With LeBron, ultimately it was his decision, but he's going to the Lakers because of movies, because of this. I don't know what is going on. What do the Lakers get everybody? I'm not going Kobe in the draft because nobody saw that coming. But Shaquille O'Neal, the Lakers suddenly get Eddie Jones gets traded, and suddenly they get. I know Jerry West could say was a wizard, made a great move. But bro, like suddenly you get all the cap room in the world for Shaq. Suddenly like Dwight Howard didn't work out, but the Pau Gasol trade before that for like really, like you didn't have to give up Andrew Bynum at the time that was supposed to be this prize guy growing up, which he had a few good years if you remember. Obviously, he didn't continue, but that's for another discussion. But you didn't have to give up Odom or Bynum for Pau Gasol. That makes no sense to this day. And don't tell me that Marcus you saw that coming. No one saw that. Everyone's like, this guy was in Europe at the time. No one cared. No one thought he was going to turn out to be anything in the NBA. Now, obviously, he turned out to be a great player. But that's for a discussion another day. And now, what just happened in Dallas? See, the Dallas Mavericks have a top, people say 3, 5. He's a special player, Luka Doncic. Top 5 out there. Okay, so you want to say he's not. He's top 10. He's a machine on offense. Everybody knows that. And say, well, he's out of shape. He's this. He's that. So what? Shaquille O'Neal was out of shape, and you wouldn't think about him trading him till he was 30. Okay? Zion Williamson has not been traded yet. Okay? The potential is there. You don't even think about it. And then you say, well, a 5-year deal is too much to commit. Really? Like the Mavericks can't afford it? Their family that they just hired, the inheritance, the lady who bought the team, they're top 10 richest people on earth. They're the richest owners, by the way, I believe in basketball. They're richer than Mark Cuban is. They're richer than Mark Cuban, and what are we doing? What do you mean? What is going on here? Like, you got to be crazy. Something is happening, which I'm not. It's a speculation. It's alleged, so I won't get sued. And everybody goes, he's suing the league. I'm not suing anybody. I'm speculating, alleging. As alleged things are happening, I don't know what's happening. So I just want to put that side note disclaimer that I don't know. But something's fishy going on in my belief. And who am I? I'm nobody. Again, I'm an expert on nothing. But the Lakers, again, I bet you if they did this trade for Trae Young, let's say, to Atlanta, no one cares because it's Atlanta. It's not the Lakers. Okay, so why didn't Luka get traded for Bronson? Okay, just straight up for Jalen Bronson for the Knicks. Because obviously the Knicks are big and New York is a big city, but they're not the team of the Lakers. The Lakers are the most popular team in basketball, and they have to be relevant in the news. The only time I remember the Lakers in my lifetime not being in the news for a couple of years was between Kobe and LeBron showing up. Now you're going to say, well, they weren't good under Kobe. It's not about being good. It's about the Lakers being relevant. And this is what's going on. The Lakers get everything. I don't look at this. And the GM, Nico Harrison of the Mavericks, suddenly doesn't have a brain. I don't believe it at all. I believe there's something going on. And guess what? I'm not going to... Could this revamp basketball? Yeah, of course. But I'll say this. WWE, NBA, NFL, all these sports... Yes, there's some organic stuff going on and legitimately winning, but I will say this about it. It's entertainment and it's about making money. So you have to get those big teams like the Lakers and if you watch football for 5 seconds, every training camp they go, the Dallas Cowboys, they have a roster potential every single offseason, every single training camp. The Cowboys, watch out for the Cowboys. I just have this feeling that something's happening, and I hope I'm wrong. But it doesn't look, it looks weird, and people say, well, he's out of shape, he's this, they don't want to pay him. This is garbage. You have to like re-sign the guy because of what he brings to the organization. Your bench chance to win. Your likelihood of getting a player of that caliber, equivalency of that caliber for the next 5 to 10 years is very low. It's very low. You only get these players. Teams only get their hands on these players once every 30 years per team. They happen to have Dirk, but with Dirk, who do they have on that caliber? You're gonna say Steve Nash, but come on, you couldn't touch from Dirk to Luka. You couldn't touch for 20 years. So that's all I gotta say. Have a good day. Subscribe to my YouTube and follow me on Rumble.